Hello, everyone, and welcome to our training today. So today we're talking about building business credit. We're talking about how it can really be used for home-based businesses. So by the end of this training, you're going to get an idea of what business credit is, how it works, how this works a lot better than a lot of other kind of government funding that's actually happened during COVID-19, and how you can use this to be able to build business credit even if you work from home. A lot of people are asking me this question. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Lavonda, hello from YouTube. And I like how Dane says that you are here early with popcorn waiting. So I appreciate you showing up early. So a lot of stuff we're going to cover today. We're going to cover how business credit can give you a business edge, how you can make a work from home situation fundable to lenders, how you can work from home, but still be more appealing to be able to get the loans and credit lines you want to get, how your home office can harm fundability and how to fix that so you have the best chance of getting the money you want when you want it, and what works and what doesn't work when it comes to fundability, how to get starter vendors to build initial business credit, and get the things that you need, the materials, the equipment that you're going to use to fund your business at exactly the same time, how to use business credit to outfit even your employer's home offices or employees' home offices as well, and how to go beyond vendor credit and get a lot of other kind of credit, including cash credit, fleet credit, other credit at most major retailers, and why monitoring your business credit matters and how you're able to be able to do that in a really cost-effective way as well. So a lot of stuff that we're going to dive in. I want to say hello to everybody tuning on the webinar. Helen, hello. Josh, hello. Filane, hello. Amanda, Lindora, Wayne, Sandra, Kayana, everybody saying hello. And I think everybody can hear me today. If there's any issues with sound, let me know. Robert and hey, Chris. Robert had mentioned no sound, but everybody else seems to be okay. Chili, thanks for tuning in. Kevin Foster, haven't seen you here in a while, man. Hope you're doing well. And Steve, hello. Thanks for tuning in. And Brian Ray, thanks everybody for coming. Okay, so if you're staying to the end of this webinar, there's some bonuses I'm going to give you, which I don't typically do, but this one has a lot of good content, so it's worth hanging around. You're going to get 30 days of free credit monitoring with Experian, Equifax, and D&B. I'm going to show you how to get that. I'm also going to get you a business credit consultation where we'll go through your reports for you at no charge, and a replay of the event, especially if you're tuning on the webinar. I'll tell you a little bit more about that stuff as we wrap up. For those that don't know me, every once a month or so, I like to reintroduce myself. Got about 20 years of financial experience. I'm author of the 2 best-selling books on corporate credit and consumer credit, Perfect Credit, Business Credit Decoded. I'm featured all over the place on news publications, on podcasts, Forbes, Entrepreneur Inc., for example, and I'm blessed to have the opportunity to oversee the largest business credit coaching operation. So not only we help over 42,000 business owners do what I'm going to show you today, how we do it, but we've also had the opportunity to oversee thousands and thousands of our partners who actually then offer business credit to their customers and coach them to understand business credit enough to actually offer it. So I only tell you this so you know I have a little bit of knowledge about what I'm going to teach you today for everybody that hasn't listened to one of my trainings before. So look, if you missed out on PPP funding, if you didn't get what you needed out of that, well, this is going to be a great webinar for you today because there's a lot of things you're going to need from your home office. You're going to need equipment. You're going to need computers. You're going to need office supplies. And you're going to need funding now and into the future, okay? And if you're not sure how to do that, especially now that these EIDL, these PPP loans have really expired, well, that's exactly what business credit can help you do now. Is business credit can offer you a solution to be able to put credit in your name, in the business's name, not in your name as an individual. It keeps it credit built for your EIN, not for your actual social. And business credit scores are based on basically how your business pays its bills. So it kind of gives you a way of building 2 sets of credit, consumer and commercial. And these scores are very different. And it really gives you your ability for the business to basically fund itself. And that's how I easily summarize business credit. Is business credit gives you the ability for your business to fund itself without actually needing all these other things to qualify, like your own personal guarantee, your own personal credit scores, etc. So your business credit scores, again, are going to be very different, but they're very important to helping you get funding. And again, what I'm going to show you today it's not based on you qualifying for a government bailout or a PPP loan or whatever it may be. So Congress could take a vacation and you're still able to come in and get the money that you need to survive and thrive. You don't need to be waiting for the government to throw out a basically rescue lifeline here. We're going to save and give you what you need to thrive using business credit, something anybody can get without meeting all of these requirements and restrictions of PPP loans, without having to think about whether it has to be paid back, it doesn't have to be paid back. All of these other problems that we're seeing out there you're able to get business credit regardless of all of these other factors that make getting money so many other ways difficult to do. So your business has to use credit to be able to buy goods and services. It does already. It's just a lot of you are using consumer credit cards to be able to fund your business. And the problem with that is a lot of things, including the fact that you're putting inquiries on your personal credit reports for business credit and business loans you're trying to apply for, which is something you want to avoid at all costs if you can do so. This is what I'm going to show you today isn't theory. This is every single large business in this country has done what I'm about to show you today. Okay, if you look at all of the biggest publicly owned companies in the United States, all of the biggest privately owned companies in the United States, 100% of all of them have built business credit. Okay, that's how they've got as big as they are. Bill Gates, for example, and all these guys, Michael Dell, they didn't guarantee the debts for their businesses, right? Those businesses survive beyond even the CEO's retirement, and they continue to get credit lines based on having established business credit. And I can't say this enough. A lot of people think that Microsoft, for example, gets money because they're Microsoft. That's not the case. When Microsoft applies to go to get money, they pull their business credit reports. The lenders do, just like they pull your business credit reports. The reason Microsoft can qualify for $100,000 plus credit lines and you can't is because of what's on their business credit report. If you've ever pulled a business credit report from a company like Microsoft, you've seen they have over 130 trade lines on that credit report. Over 130, right? Think about how many trade lines or accounts you have on your business credit report. Well, they have 130. If you look at it, they've got loans for $50,000, $100,000, $1 million loans and credit lines they've paid as agreed. So when lenders pull their credit report, they see this vast history of them paying their bills as agreed. They see high credit limits. They see high credit lines. They see high credit limit recommendations from the bureaus. That's why they get the money they get. It's not their reputation. It's the quality of their commercial credit report. But here's the trick. You could do the same thing. Okay, and that's why I'm here, is because what I've learned is that these big companies follow a formula that they know about because they have financial controllers and they have CFOs and they have these high-level financial experts that most small businesses don't have. And those high-level professionals teach them to do what I'm about to teach you. So even small businesses can follow exactly the same path that companies like Microsoft have. It's just a matter of knowing the steps to actually take. And that's one of the things that we're going to be diving into today. Mallory, hello. Lisa, hello. Michael, Sydney, Brian, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Rod's coming in here from YouTube. Hello. Daniel saying hello from Guam. Man, that's awesome. Thanks for tuning in from Guam, Daniel. And Luxurious Natural Soaps, LLC, which, by the way, I love because then I say their name every time I say something. Hello from Jacksonville, North Carolina. I'm new LLC. I'm trying to organize everything to get started. Great. If you're working from home, this is the one for you. So thanks, everybody, for tuning in on YouTube, Periscope, Facebook, and our webinar. And I'll give you shout outs throughout. So with two separate credit scores, business and consumer, or with two separate credit scores, you can get two separate credit cards from the same vendor. Okay, so let's talk about this. Basically, you can't walk into Staples today and get a credit card and walk in tomorrow and get the same credit card. But you can walk into Staples today and get a consumer credit card, walk in tomorrow to get a commercial credit card. So it gives you more than double the borrowing ability because you've got both consumer and you've got commercial credit. Now, business credit scores only depend on how you pay your bills. And this is one of my favorite things about business credit. Look, consumer credit, if you really look at the FICO score, it's an absolute flipping disaster. And here's why. There's 5 components. And when you try to fix one, you damage another. Let me give you an example. 10% of your FICO score on the consumer side is your credit mix. You have to have the right mix of credit, such as 1 to 2 home loans, 1 to 2 auto loans, 1 to 2 signature loans, 3 major credit cards, for example. So if you don't have that mix, then you're going to go apply and get those things, right? But if you go to apply and get a home loan, well, then you put a bunch of inquiries on your credit report. That lowers your score. Then you have a loan where you max out. You owe what the loan amount is. So that damages your utilization. So by trying to fix credit mix, you damage utilization and you put inquiries, which damages that aspect of your score. The whole FICO score works exactly the same way. Is that when you try to fix one aspect of the score, such as you don't have enough accounts giving you positive payment history, so you get more accounts. Well, by applying for more accounts, you then add inquiries. So there's this tug and pull with FICO that usually takes people until they're 30s or 40s to get 850 type credit scores. It's many years of well-disciplined borrowing, 10, 20, 30 years, decades. Here's how commercial credit works, though. In my opinion, it's common sense. It's the way the whole system should work. Your scores reflect how you pay your bills. If you pay your bills on average 15 days late, your score will indicate that. If you pay your bills 15 days early, your scores will indicate that. So the only thing we have to do to get good scores is pay bills on time or early. That's it. It's the only thing we care about. So it's very fast to build business credit because there's only one thing we have to care about. We don't have to care about our credit mix. We don't have to limit inquiries. We don't have to create a long history. All the stuff we have to do with FICO, none of that. We just need to get bills and we need to pay them on time. We need to get bills that report to the business credit reporting agencies and pay them on time. So not like consumer credit. But the other thing I want to mention here is this is what protects your consumer credit as well. By building business credit, you're not putting inquiries on your personal credit when you go to get business credit cards. You're not maxing out your credit cards. It shows on your personal credit report, hurting your utilization because those accounts report to the business credit reporting agencies. See, this is the way it was designed to be. Corporate credit exists for us as business owners to fund our own businesses using it. And I remember when I was like in 8th grade, it drove my teachers crazy because they said, what do you want to do when you grow up? I'm like, I want to be a trash man. And they would get so mad. But at the time, I really believed, and I had known people that owned businesses in the waste disposal space that made a lot of money. Okay, and I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to do something like that. And I had this vision of just because I created my business, I would have money to be able to make the business grow. I think a lot of us did when we were younger. Then we get to be adults and we're trained to believe that that's not the case, but it is the case. Business credit gives you the ability for your business to fund itself and leaves your personal credit alone so you can use your personal credit for what it was designed to do, to get you a house, to get you personal credit cards, to get your car loans, and to separate the two. If you don't separate the two, like many people don't, when you intertwine the two, you got all kinds of problems because the consumer FICO score isn't built to absorb the debts of a business. It's just not. It's not created for that. And I see so many business owners crush their consumer credit because they're trying to use the credit cards and the money they get using it to fund a business, which it was never designed to do. So they crush their consumer scores and lose out on hundreds of thousands, if not millions of other funding that they could potentially get. So something to think about there as well. Okay, and SL says, hello, hi, Canvas products from YouTube coming in. Sweet Eats from YouTube coming in. You're the best. Aben, Asan, I appreciate that. Will Rodriguez, what's going on? I think from Massachusetts. And I appreciate that as well. And your guide's working well. Thanks for grabbing our guide. And I appreciate that. And then Kyrina says, I got 2 Sam's business credit cards for one business. I think it was a mistake though. Haha. Kyrina, it's not typically, and here's why. Because a lot of places like BJ's and Sam's Club, as I'll teach you today, have 2 kinds of credit cards. They have a credit card you can use in their store. They have a credit card you can use for any purpose. You could use it at BJ's, for example. And then you might have got a business credit card and you might have got one with a guarantee that was actually more of a consumer card. So some things to think about. Michael says getting business credit from home is really important to me. That's what we're going to be diving into. And what about the loss of jobs and credit from the pandemic? A lot of stuff going on. And this is why I'm teaching this. Because when the economy changes like we see that it has, the amount of business owners skyrockets, meaning that a lot of people get fed up of finally working for somebody and they decide to go out on their own and start their own business. New business startups skyrocket during times of this, which is exactly what we want to talk about today. Michael says, I really want to separate my business purchases from personal. We'll talk about that today. Was bumped off twice. Sorry, that happens, Michael. Sometimes we get pretty full to capacity with our webinars. So that being said, okay, so let's dive in. So business credit details. Business credit does not happen automatically. You have to actively work to build it. Here's why I say this. You could accidentally build your consumer credit because every time you go to check out at Target, they offer you a 20% discount if you use their credit card. So at some point, you're going to go apply for credit along the way, and that credit reports to the consumer credit reporting agencies. Just think about that for a second. You would never go into Staples, Office Depot, Sam's Club, Best Buy, Nordstrom, and get a credit card and not expect it to report. We would just never think about that. Like if I went to Best Buy and got a credit card and didn't see on my credit report, I would think something was wrong with anybody I get credit for. But 97% of trade credit doesn't report to the business credit reporting agency. So the reason business credit's so different is you have to be very intentional about the building. It does not happen accidentally. You're not going to go into Staples and then go, hey, you want a 20% discount by getting our corporate credit card? And you're like, yeah, I'd love to get that corporate credit card. And then they give it to you, and then it shows up in your business credit reports. That never happens. It does not happen. You have to know what you're doing, know what you're looking for. As a matter of fact, if you call Staples and say, I want to get a business credit card without using my social to qualify, there are people will even tell you that's not even possible. A lot of them don't even know it's possible. So we're working here in an underground world where only gurus know what's going on in big companies. And a lot of the frontline workers at these places don't even know what's up. That's why you have to know what's being taught here. You have to know the formula because you have to be intentional. Otherwise, it's just not going to happen very quickly, okay? However, it can be done easily if you understand the steps, and that's what we'll be talking about. And vendors are a large part of the process. We'll be talking about them as well later today. Now, if you're working from home, a lot of problems, right? You can't collaborate with others. It might be tougher to manage employees. Time management can be tricky when the days are all running together. Plus, there are some things you just can't do from home. So there's a lot more challenges running from home. You can't meet your prospects in person. Forget about handshakes with potential customers, right? Certain expenses go up like software, hardware, internet, all these type of things that you have to do. I sit beside two routers here, okay? So I actually have two routers here in my office. I have one with Spectrum and one with Verizon. I have two services. So if one fails me, my second one will be able to go over. So again, there's just a lot of challenges that we have here working from home with increased expenses and things like that that we don't typically have when we're not working from home. I'm not telling you or condoning you working from home actually at all. Let me see here. Hopefully that was something weird that just came up. Okay, so I'm not condoning working from home at all. As a matter of fact, I'm in my home-based office. We are now a virtual company. We had two offices, one in Tampa, one in Washington State, closed down our one in Tampa because we didn't need it. Most of our team was virtual anyways. And Credit Suite surpassed $10 million in sales. So I tell you this not to brag or anything like that. I'm just saying you can build an 8-figure business working from home. I'm a testament. You can absolutely do it. So I'm not putting down working from home, but I am saying that there's a lot of interesting challenges you have working from home that you don't typically have in other places, okay? Your bank probably has reduced hours, so coming in and asking them for a loan, especially with COVID-19, is a little bit tougher. Interest rates are lower, but lenders have got stricter as well. So it's tougher to get the money we need, and they don't look favorably on home-based businesses either. So not only do we have all these challenges of running a home-based business, but then we have the additional challenges of being able to try to get money from a home-based business. And I'm going to teach you how to get around some of those things today as well. And Josh says, hey, can you answer this later if you need to? But I had a question about alternative funding. I will dive into that. I will come back and visit that near the end of this webinar, just so you know. And how can I get my business or build my business credit score and fleet credit cards? We'll be talking about that today. Michael says, I applied for Lowe's Net 30 account, but they never sent me anything in the mail. Call them and see what's going on. Sweet Eats Treats Bakery says, question, how long will it take to receive your BIN number from Experian? It happens the minute you set up your first account with Experian. I'm going to show you how to do that in just a matter of minutes. So while business credit helps you get traditional loans and credit lines, it can also tide you over until you qualify for both. So let me break this down. There's a lot of myths out there that you could use business credit and go get a $250,000 credit line. It ain't going to happen. Business credit will help you get a $250,000 credit line, but it alone won't be used for the purpose of getting a credit line. So business credit makes it easier to get loans. It makes it easier to get credit lines, but it's not the only factor that's looked at. But if you want to get loans, if you want to get credit lines, if you want to get that kind of money for your business, business credit's a must because it's essential to get what you need, but it's not the only factor that they're looking at. And when you're working from home, it's extremely important that you build your business credit because there's a lot of things against you when it comes to credibility with a home-based business that business credit will help you get around. Okay, so it gets you around all that. Expenses like computer hardware, peripherals, packaging, mailing, all these type of things you can use business credit cards for. Okay, and you can add value to your business easily because business credit's a business asset. It makes your business worth more money. It gives you access to more money for spending. The stuff you would use a loan, a credit line, your personal credit cards for, you can use business credit cards for. You can use business credit for the equipment you need, for the software you need, for the computers that you need, for the actual, office supplies that you need. Business credit can be used for all of those things, so you don't have to dip into your cash flow, your loans, or your credit lines. You can buy things like hand sanitizer, gloves, masks, face shields, all the kind of things that we're worried about with COVID-19. You can use business credit for all those things as well. So even the kind of things that are unique to us during COVID-19 in this unique time, you can use for business credit for those things as well. So how do you do this? Well, the very first step is we got to build your fundability. Now, I don't care if you're getting a loan, a credit line, or business credit. I don't care what you're doing. If you want money for your business, you have to take this step. It's a first step to get any kind of money. Because what we found in helping 42,000 people build business credit is this: the vast majority of denials that take place are not because you do not qualify. So what I'm saying to you is that if you've been denied for credit cards or loans or credit lines before, most of the time, it's not because you didn't qualify. You could have easily qualified for that money. But why most people get turned down is they don't meet these basic fundability requirements that lenders, credit issuers, and suppliers have. I call this like the secret formula that their computers have of things they're looking for that you wouldn't even think they're looking at, but that will determine your ability to get the money that you need, okay? So it's not just for building business credit, it's your overall credibility, and it really makes it easy and shortens the time for you to get any kind of capital that you're looking at. So let's talk about business websites. You've got to have a professional looking business website. You need to have a professional domain. You don't want to use Wix. You don't want to use Weebly because they'll take your website and host it on their own domain. You don't want that. You need to get your own hosting at a place like GoDaddy. I don't care where you use. That's just where we use, right? So you want to get a professional website set up that reflects what your business does. Lenders and credit issuers will scour the internet to figure out what you do. It's better that they find out what you do from you on your own website than they find out from other people that are talking about you. So you need to get that professional website set up. You need to get your professional email address set up as well. You want to stay away from partydude2020 at Yahoo, right? You need something professional, like your name at yourcompany.com. Stay away from AOL. Stay away from Yahoo email addresses. It needs to be a professional email address that's the same as your domain. That's what gives you the max credibility. If you don't have this, it throws up red flags that could potentially get you denied. You need to have a business phone number. Never use a mobile phone. Never use a home number on an application. Voice over IP is okay, but stay away from Google Voice. I don't know why, but I see a lot of credit issuers not like Google Voice and not approve people because they're using Google Voice. So stay away from it. We've seen that it's a problem. The benefit of me telling you this stuff today is that helping tens of thousands of people do this, we found these little nuances that are the difference between approval and denial, and a Google Voice and not using that is one of those nuances. So you can use a voice over IP, but don't use a mobile phone. Don't use a home phone. Get your phone number listed with 411. Okay, you can do that through a service called List Yourself. We do that by paying our customer, or by paying List Yourself to do that for our customers. It's that important. Get a toll-free extension, 888-877-800, for example, and get a fax number. Your phone number can be your fax number through places like Freedom Voice or Ring Central. So just get one. Now, in 2020, we've yet to see anybody denied because they don't have a fax number. I used to preach that pretty heavily, but in 2020, we don't see that now. I've never seen anybody denied, but it still gives you a lot of credibility by having a fax number. So it's so cheap and easy to do one. I recommend that you actually get one added. And Abam says to get fleet business credit cards. We'll talk about that here in a few minutes. Lisa says, hey, we're going to talk about building your business credit scores in a few minutes. And Erica says, can you discuss tips and tricks on applying and getting approved for tier 2 trade lines with retailers? I will talk about that as well. She's got an 80 Paydex and an 86 Experian. We'll be talking about that as well. And Sydney says, are there additional benefits for veterans regarding getting Dunn's number of business credit? There's a lot of funding available for veterans. You should look at our YouTube channel on funding for veterans. We've got a lot of training there. But being a veteran, and I'm a veteran too, so thank you for your service, by the way, it doesn't help you any when it comes to building business credit, but it does help you a lot when it comes time to getting actual funding. So your business address, you don't want to use a P.O. box or UPS address at all. We have been sold on this false premise that we can use a UPS address and it's better than using our home address. It's not true at all. You are better to use when it comes to getting money for your business a home address than you are a UPS address. So if you are and have been using a UPS or P.O. box address, stop immediately. You're better off to use your home address. Here's the best options in order to choose. One, get a retail location. Okay, if you are in a business that needs a retail location, get one. But we're seeing in COVID-19, a lot of us don't need retail outfits to be able to run our business. So if you don't want to pay the money and don't need to pay the money for a retail outfit, an actual front-facing business that's out there in a retail location, then option two, your second best option, is a virtual address. This is where you are renting an address from a high-rise building in a major city. It makes you look super credible because to rent office space in that building is super expensive. Okay, but the reality is you just get your mail there, then they scan and email you the mail, then they mail it back to you. So you're basically renting an address there, but it's not like a UPS address. So why is this different? Because here's what happened. In the 1980s, okay, there was this push to be able to get all of these P.O. box addresses to put into a database. So a lot of places, including lenders, credit issuers, and the government, could recognize those as being a certain different kind of address, a P.O. box, a mailbox type of address. So UPS and P.O. boxes, they all lost. They all had to put them in this database that lenders and credit issuers can access. But virtual address storages like Alliance and Regis at the time, they won their fight, and their addresses are excluded from this database. So that's the difference, is that lenders, credit issuers, suppliers know you're using a P.O. box and UPS address because their crawlers, their computers can go into a database where all these addresses are housed and know exactly what kind of address you're using. But virtual addresses are not in that database. So you can use a virtual address and still make it look like you rent office space on the top floor of a big high-rise building in Tampa, Florida, extremely expensive real estate. But the reality is you're still working from home. You're just getting mail there. That's why it's the second option to a retail location. Third and final option, there's only three, is a home-based business address. That's it. Use a physical retail location first, virtual address second, home-based business address third is last resort, but never use P.O. box or UPS address. That'll get you denied everywhere. Now, what happens if you use a home-based address? A couple things you should know about. Dun & Bradstreet started putting Google Street Views on their commercial credit report. We've had clients call freaking out because they get their credit report and see a picture of their house on it, right? Not something most people want to see. So keep in mind, a picture of your house can show up on your business credit report. You need to decide if you want your prospects, your clients, your competitors, your lenders, your suppliers, your credit issuers to see that, because they all can all access your commercial credit report. If not, you want to stay away from home-based address. The other thing is some sources will not approve you. Other sources will make it more difficult to get approved if you're using a home-based address. The example I use is Walmart versus Amazon. Amazon will approve you all day, every day for a home-based address and for a credit card, even using a home-based address. Walmart will never do it. So they're not going to approve you for a home-based address for a commercial credit card with Walmart. It's not going to happen. So I use that as an example, but that's the way the world works. Some sources will never approve you. Some sources will, based on you using a home-based address. So the question is, how will they know? Because there are indicators on every address whether they know whether it's commercial or consumer. Their computers know instantaneous the minute that you put the address in. That's why they're constantly asking you, hey, you put this in. Did you mean this? Because they're trying to figure out what your real address is per the USPS. And the USPS tracks all those different addresses and what type they are. So they're going to know. So that's just some things to think about if you're coming in and you're building business credit using an actual home-based address, okay? And Luxurious Natural Spa says, I've had my Google Voice number for over 10 years. Didn't know that. It's just going to be harder for you to get the money that you need. Macy's does have a business credit card. Okay, my partner and I have a 790 credit score. Do you think you can get a credit line hybrid? You absolutely can, but you can't get it without a personal guarantee. It's a very good question. This is why I read questions while we're doing this, because a lot of you are wondering what everybody else is asking. And this is a brilliant question, so I want to point this out. Here's the question. My business partner and I have a 790 credit score. Do you think we can get a credit line without a personal guarantee? Here's the key. There's only one way to get money without a personal guarantee: building business credit. If your personal credit is 850, it doesn't matter because you're not signing as a guarantor. In order to get around a guarantee, you have to build business credit. It's the only way you can get around personal guarantors. You can't get it regardless of your personal credit score. Caesar, hello from New York. Thanks for tuning in. What website's best to finding out what's our business credit score? creditsuite.com/monitoring. creditsuite.com/monitoring. It's $24 to experience a DMB and Equifax, and I'll teach you at the end of this webinar how to get all three for free. I have a room that I use at a store at our home. That's okay. Just watch the addresses. Business credit profiles are associated with addresses, so you need to make sure that you have a unique address and a business that's not a similar name in that address, or it can create multiple business credit programs. And Dane says, I love the hybrid talk. It sounds so promising. The Credit Line Hybrid is a great program. We'll talk about that a little bit later today. A lot of you still have some questions here on the actual webinar. I'll get to those in just a second. So let's jump in. So again, we talked about physical addresses: Regis, DaVinci, Alliance. Those are the best sources for virtual addresses. Alliance is my own personal favorite. I love Alliance. They're the best. And if you go to creditsuite.com/virtual, you will see that that is exactly the one that we recommend. So getting your website, getting your email, getting your phone, getting your address, getting all that stuff squared away, you should get that done before you even set up your entity. And here's why. Because if all that stuff isn't the same on your application as the same as Secretary of State, it's one of the biggest reasons people get stuff denied. I mean, the number one reason that people get stuff denied is that the stuff on their application doesn't match what's on their Secretary of State. And if you think about this, this makes a lot of sense, because like you and I set up our Secretary of State records and I don't even think about it unless I'm filing my annual report once a year. And that process of filing my annual report's pretty quick. I go through, yeah, verify, yep, done, boom, pay, I'm out, right? So the problem is we set up the Secretary of State info and we forget about it. We don't even think about it. Then we start to go to apply for money, and what they're doing is they're comparing it to Secretary of State for a fraud check. They're just doing a basic fraud check. Hey, here's your business name, your address, your phone number. Is it the same as Secretary of State? Whoop, it's different. Fraud alert, fraud alert, fraud alert. What kind of person would have an address for their business and not update it with the Secretary of State? Fraud alert, fraud alert. Then all of a sudden their computers just go haywire with alerts, basically indicating it's potential fraud. Then it goes to that manual underwriting person, right? That person whose whole job is to determine if it's fraud or not. So think about it. If your job was on the line to determine if something was fraud or not, and the computers all told you it was fraud, which way would you lean? I mean, it automatically, by default, they lean towards it being fraud, because if they trump the computer and say it's not fraud, then their job is directly on the line. So they have to be certain it's not fraudulent to be able to pass that application through. And in most cases, it just doesn't happen. This is why manual reviews happen, is because your information is not congruent with what's on the Secretary of State. It's why I recommend that you go back and check your Secretary of State records, or try to set the stuff up right from the beginning before you even get to the Secretary of State. Now, when it comes here, then you need to make sure any necessary licenses that you have, and this, then you want to come in and start getting set up with the actual Secretary of State to get your entity set up. Then go and get your EIN number as well. Again, if you need to have any licenses, then go ahead and get those licenses set up. There's a lot of sources out there, like vendors like, well, there's a lot of vendors out there. Like Granger will give you a $2,000 credit line just because you have a business license. As a matter of fact, I got that question the other day. We were trying to verify something, and they said, send your business license. And we're like, we don't need a business license. We don't have one. And they made it really hard for us to verify what else we needed, because we didn't have what they asked for. So if you can get a license for your industry or for your business in your state or in your area, you should. Those are very valuable. Set up your business bank account as well. A lot of business credit sources are going to ask you for a bank reference. So you're going to need to have a bank account set up to have that bank reference. Very important. And then you also need to make sure that you set up an entity that makes sure that you're fundable as well. Choose a corporation, choose an LLC, choose a partnership. Stay away from sole proprietors. Sole proprietorships are really problematic. There's a 1 in 7 chance of getting audited versus 1 in 50 with corporations. and you just do not look legitimate and credible. There's a lot of sources that will not approve you if your business is set up as a sole prop. So for taxes, for liability reasons, a lot of people build business credit to get away from personal guarantees. But if you and the business are one and the same, you can't get away from personal guarantees. So if you're a sole proprietor, you are the business. If the business gets sued, you get sued. I'm not an attorney, and this isn't legal advice. I'm just saying it's what it is. Somebody sues the business, they sue you. You got to put a barrier in between. Setting up another entity, like I've told you here, not only helps to make it easier to get business credit without a guarantee, but it also just gives you more credibility as well. Okay, so I want to talk about NAICS and SIC codes here, but before I do, let me just jump in. I've got some questions, and I want to make sure I get those answered, and then I will come back to this really quick. So what about those that will open a bakery but currently home baking? Do home bakers also have to do virtual addresses? You don't have to do anything. But remember, there's some credit sources that will never approve you with the home addresses, whereas all of them will with the virtual address. I'm in the process of changing my UPS business address to Alliance. My business question is, will this affect my current 5 trade lines? It won't, but you need to update your new address with the business credit reporting agencies. And what hybrid credit asking for to avoid getting approved? We'll talk about that here in a few minutes. Dane says, I checked my 2 companies and couldn't find them in New York State Secretary of State. And do you have a good tax CPA? Because that's important. You can contact us at 877-600-2487. Our number will be at the end, and we'll get you recommended to an attorney. And you need to really check your Secretary of State. If you can't find your own business with your Secretary of State, that's a whole slew of problems that you really need to make sure that you get corrected, okay? Lisa says, what if your personal credit score was reduced significantly due to COVID and I had 0 coming in? I'm just starting to recover since the business. Well, then this is why you need to build business credit. Because if you build business credit, you can get around damaged personal credit. And if I were you, I would work with a credit repair company. There's a lot of legitimate ones out there that can help you in that area. If you need help, give us a call. We'll recommend you to a good one. Tracy says, banks that I've tried to open my account decline virtual addresses. Anybody had success with co-working spaces? You can, most banks won't deny you for using a virtual address. If so, use a home-based address with the bank and then update it later. You can easily do that as well. And Kayana says, how many lines of tier 2 do you need to get a business credit card? We'll be diving into that in just a minute. And I have 2 home-based businesses. Businesses have established business credit. The other business is new. Will this cause a problem? It won't, but your names need to be very different. Your business credit profile is associated with every unique location in DMB's database. So the business needs to have a very different name than the other business. If the names are similar and the address is the same, you're going to have mismatched data ending up on your business credit reports. And Michael says, my county and state don't have business licenses for online home-based businesses. How I deal with that? You don't. There's some places that will give you licenses, some places that don't. We don't have one either. So if you don't need one, you don't need one. But if you can get one, get one. That's my actual advice. So SIC and NAICS codes, this is what you need to know here. It's very important. You need to determine what your NAICS code is. If not, you will automatically be placed in a high-risk code. And here's what happens. When you apply for a loan, they ask your industry. And you say something kind of dumb in general, like I'm a consultant, right? Or I'm in the education space. I'm in the software space. When you do that, they automatically have to determine what your NAICS is. And if you give them a broad term, then they're going to choose a high-risk term because they don't know. So like if it's low risk or high risk and they don't know what segment of software you're in, they're going to default to high risk to protect themselves. So you need to make sure that you choose your NAICS code. Now you can go to NAICScode.com, which is where I recommend. There's plenty of these sites, and find your exact NAICS code. When I apply for credit or financing anywhere, I say exactly what the NAICS code is and the exact number. So for example here, NAICS code 484110 is general freight trucking local. I'm going to put that. Like I'm literally going to put that. What industry are you in? I'm in the general freight trucking local business. My NAICS is 484110. It's overkill. But when you do it, there's no guessing. When you tell them my NAICS code is this number and I'm in this grouping, then they won't misrepresent you and put you in a high-risk NAICS code. Because the problem is once they do that once, then they report the NAICS code to the business bureaus, and you'll have multiple NAICS codes in your business credit report, many of which reflect that you're high risk. So right now, if you haven't already, go to NAICS.code.com, find your NAICS code, get it updated on your taxes, and make sure all bureaus are reporting the correct one or dispute it with them. And moving forward, the exact verbiage of your NAICS code, the exact description and the number needs to be on every application for credit or financing. If you don't do this, if you skip this, then I promise you, you're going to have a bunch of NAICS codes on your credit report that reflect your high risk. Then when you go to get a loan, then when you go to get a credit card and they start giving you denials or high rates, interest rates, then you know why. It's because your NAICS codes indicates that you're in a high-risk industry. So next, we want to get set up with Dun & Bradstreet. We want to get our DUNS numbers set up. We can do this at creditsuite.com/DUNS, creditsuite.com/DUNS. You don't even need to put the dashes in between, or you can just go search Google for free DUNS number. I just gave you a shortcut link. The DUNS number is free, but Dun & Bradstreet's going to try to call and sell you stuff. They will. I promise you they will sell you stuff you do not need. You don't need their credit builder program. Don't get them on the phone. If you get on the phone with D&B, they're going to try to sell you crap you don't need. Okay, D&B never calls you for any other reason than to sell you basically their credit builder program, which you don't need. So once you've got set up with DUNS number, which is free, about a 10 to 15 minute process, all the stuff I've told you need at this point, your website, your address, your phone number, all that stuff. Then you want to come in and do a free search to see if you're set up now with the reporting agencies. You could do so at creditsuite.com/reports. You could take the first step in getting your DUNS number here as well. This gives you shortcut links to D&B and Experian. Equifax currently isn't doing this, to tell you if you have any credit reported, if they have a trade lines for you. If they don't, this shortcut will give you all of that information to be able to know if they know you exist or not, okay? Now, once you've done this, somebody asked earlier, how do I get my BIN number, which is a business identification number from Experian? You get your BIN number automatically the minute any account reports to Experian, or the minute Experian creates a credit profile for you. Experian will create a credit profile for you if they have any bit of what they call firmographic information, which is they know your business name, the address, and your NAICS code. If they know those three things, they will create a credit report for you and give you a failing score. But the minute they create that credit report, they will give you a BIN number, okay? So that's how you actually get your BIN number, is when you start getting accounts with Experian. But remember, you will get a credit profile set up with Experian and Equifax, even if you have no credit reporting. Also know that your business credit reports with D&B, Equifax, Experian will tie into your FICO SPSS score. Somebody asked about that earlier. Is it possible to check a business credit score and SPSS score with the business EIN? It is, Michael. You have to do that with NAV. NAV's the only place that you can go to check your SPSS score. But FICO's SPSS score is what's used to qualify for SBA loans, period. And you need to have a good business credit profile and score built. If you don't, you won't have a high enough SPSS score to ever get an SBA loan. Now, we've set up the business where it's fundable. We've really set that up. So now we need to start building the initial credit profile and score. Now that our business is squared away and we've done all the things that make us look credible. By the way, one more thing I didn't mention, the most important, I don't know why I forgot it. You got to make sure all your records are congruent online. Everywhere online needs to have the same business name, the same business address, the same business phone number. Okay, it all needs to be the same. Yellow pages, social media pages, it all needs to be exactly the same online. If not, that could be looked at as possible fraud and get you denied. So now that we've done all that, now we need to start getting initial credit that reports to the reporting agencies. We're oftentimes going to use vendors for this purpose. Now, I put this still under the business fundability category because establishing business credit is fundability. It is the fundability of your business. So you need to get credit initially with trade vendors who report the credit to the reporting agencies. Now, this credit's easier to get than revolving credit, okay? It's faster to get than revolving credit, and anybody can get it. Even as a brand new startup business, no doc, you're still able to get this kind of credit for your business, okay? And here's three vendors that we really like. Uline is one. They sell online like shipping supplies. They sell hand sanitizer, glove, cleaning supply stuff we could all use in a COVID-19 world. Okay, they report to Dun & Bradstreet and Experian. To get set up with them is much the same as the other two I'm going to teach you today. Okay, entity in good standing, EIN number, business address, DUNS number, business license, business bank account. Okay, if you have those things, you're going to be able to get approved. That's why I taught you to do those things first, then do these things. Okay, now, upon final review, when they come to review you, they're either going to approve you for credit or they're not, and they're going to make you place two orders first. If you ignored me and you didn't do what I taught you about fundability, they're going to make you prepay 1 to 2 orders, which means you're going to have to buy stuff with cash 1 or 2 times before they'll give you a credit line or a net 30 account. Don't blame them, blame yourself. It's because you didn't get your fundability lined up. You see, a lot of entrepreneurs want to skip fundability and go right in to get credit. They're like, Ty, that sounds like it's not important. I'm going to go start to get credit. Then they get denied. That's what happens when you don't build fundability. With Uline, if you're asked to place prepaid orders, it's typically because you have no established business credit. And on top of that, you also have not actually met the fundability requirements that you need to meet. And so as a result of that, you're getting denied. Now, another great source to use for business credit building is Crown Office Supplies. And I'm soon going to have their CEO on my podcast. They have a lot of things that you can buy, all kinds of office supplies, and they report to all 3 credit reporting agencies. So you're actually getting payment experiences here with all 3 reporting agencies just by adding them. And by the way, I've stopped questions. I'm going to answer questions in the end, but I want to get through all this content first. Exactly the same thing as you needed with Uline, entity in good standing, EIN to get approved, business address, DUNS number, license, business bank account, but you've got to be open 60 days to get approved with them, and they have a $99 fee annually for their account. They really focus on accounts that help you build business credit, and Crown is well worth the $99 because they report to all 3 reporting agencies. Strategic Network Solutions is another of our favorite. They'll give you a credit limit of $1,000 even as a new business. They increase that by $500 if you are paying as agreed. They report to Experian and Credit Safe, and they have networking, computer, hardware, all kinds of stuff. You can find them at stntsol.com. Okay, and to qualify exactly what we've talked about before, business address, DUNS number, license, bank account, EIN, entity in good standing, and they will give you a net 30 account. So you need about 5 of these payment experiences. Those are 3s. I like to show one of my favorite clients, Christine. I love her story. It's just brilliant. Bad credit, struggled to build business credit, built business credit, got over $1 million worth of credit. Last time I talked to her, she was buying a 50 truck operation. You could see some of the credit that she's been able to get, starting with $5,000 to $10,000 limits at Tractor Supply, Exxon, BP, all the way up to $300,000 through RTS, which is a local provider, $185,000 with Ford. So it just goes to show the possibilities of what's really possible with building business credit. As she says here, if you follow Ty Crandall's program, you'll get what you need. Look, I mean, this is just the kind of success that you get if you follow these steps. It's not something I made up. It's not something I invented. I've just been able to come in and be able to simplify it. So here's a lot of approvals. I like to show people what's possible. Here's people that got Uline, Quill, Granger. Here's a no personal guarantee Sam's Club approval for, it looks like, $15,000, $17,000 with Shell. Here's a fleet card for $8,400. More credit cards here with BP, JCPenney for $4,000, $4,000 at Lowe's. I don't see the approval amount on that, but that looks like a racetrack. $10,000 approval here at Dell, Staples credit card, $17,000 at Amazon, $50,000 credit line, Exxon Mobil, $6,000, $10,000 Apple, $6,000 Amazon, $50,000 Pilot Flying J, Home Depot, Universal Fleet Cards, Office Max, Sunoco approvals, premium fleet cards, more Home Depot, Chase Inc. for $14,000. Another $4,500 approval here. Phillips 76 approval, another Sam's Club approval there. You get the idea, right? This is what the end result is when you follow what I'm teaching you today. So next, you want to monitor business credit. A lot of people have asked me about this. The link here is way longer than it needs to be. Go to creditsuite.com/monitoring. Currently, it's $24. The prices will be raised. By the time you see this, it might be higher. But you get D&B, Equifax, and Experian for only $24. It's the cheapest in the world, guys. We get it from Nav, and even Nav lets us underprice them for the product. So again, $24 to get all 3. You can go to Experian, Equifax, through D&B directly, guys. It's $249 a month with the 3 of them. You can go find their monitoring directly. Equifax isn't doing monitoring right now for some reason. They've got some crazy thing they're working on that we're not sure of what it is yet. But you can get monitoring with Experian, and with D&B, it's just expensive to do so. creditsuite.com/monitoring is the cheapest way to do it. We do help our clients fix damaged business credit. If you want to do it directly, you can fix D&B through iUpdate. You can fix Experian and Equifax directly from Experian and Equifax. The next stop is you want to start getting credit with other major sources, or what's called retail credit. Retail credit is the next step in the game. This is where you get Office Depot. This is where you get Home Depot, Sam's Club. This is where you get credit at almost every major retailer: Sam's Club, Costco, BP, or not BP, I'm going to say them for the fleet. Staples, Office Depot, Nordstrom, Macy's. Somebody asked me about that earlier. This is when you get to retail credit. You need about 5 accounts, payment experiences, 5 accounts across all 3 credit bureaus. If I add up all the little trade lines you have, you need 5 total to start getting retail credit. I say start because some won't approve you until you've got 8, 10 accounts reporting, okay? And this is why, look, it just takes longer to do this on your own than working with a company like Credit Suite, because if you look at our back end office, it tells you how many accounts you need to get approved for every single source. So it's super fast because you don't have to worry about how many accounts you need reporting to get a Staples and a Sam's Club. We tell you that. Now, when you have 8 accounts, then you can start to get the fleet credit. That's when you start to get to Exxon and Valvoline and advanced auto parts. And this is where you can get auto repairs and you can get maintenance of vehicles and you can get fuel and you can get all of that stuff when you get about 8 accounts reporting on your business credit reports. Remember, I'm telling you when you can get approved to start qualifying for these. So you need 8 accounts. So a lot of people ask me these questions in comments. So let me sum this up. Okay, what it comes down to is this. How much credit you can get depends on how many accounts you have reporting on your business credit reports. It's that simple. The more accounts that report on your business credit reports, the more tiers of credit open up and become available for you. So with 8, you can start to get fleet credit, and with 14 accounts, and one of them with a $10,000 high, then with that, you can come in and start to get cash credit. And this is exactly what I was talking about earlier. This is what our clients see when they build business credit. So you can see, and my computer's running slow because I got too many things running. So anyway, there we go. Okay, but you can see that every source, we say whether they qualify or they don't. And then we also say where they report to, what kind of terms you can get on every single source. So it's easier to be able to get approved. And then on top of that, we actually give the underwriting requirements for every single source that's out there. So every kind of source you can think about, whether it's revolving or net account, it's all in our system this way. And then we tier it tier by tier on the right-hand side. And we also list how many accounts somebody needs to be able to qualify for business credit bill, or to be able to qualify for those accounts. So if we combine all that, that's why our clients are just a way more successful, way faster in building business credit, because it's all there. So with 14 accounts, you can start to get to the utmost, the cash credit card, the Visa cards, the MasterCards, the auto financing. My dogs have opened my door here and they're barking. So hopefully that's not too loud and much of a distraction from you guys. We all work from home now, so it's okay. Okay, so that being said, once you get your business credit established, now we can start to get you to get approved for loans and credit lines. You're still going to need to provide a guarantee for quite some time until you establish a lot of business credit. But again, it makes it easier for you to get loans and credit lines because now they know that you're paying your debts. Okay, I'm trying to move kind of quickly here because I'm running out of time and I've got a podcast interview at 2 o'clock Eastern, so I've got to wrap up. So here's one of our clients, Marlon, who got over $1 million in business credit. He now travels around the country speaking about it. And again, as you can see here, I have fleet credit that I use for auto repairs and fuel. I have cash credit with almost all major bank sources, Bank of America and Wells Fargo included. Secured almost all this credit without a personal guaranteed credit check. I've been able to get loans with many sources, including PayPal and Cabbage, with low rates and loan amounts over 100 grand. Gives you an idea of definitely what's possible for you. And again, a huge bonus when you're working from home, because a lot of things that these vendors can do for you as well. A lot of things you're able to buy to be able to do so. Okay. So that being said, when you're working from home, whether you are or not, if you'd like to be able to learn kind of a faster path to building business credit, that's exactly what we do here at Credit Suite. So to give you an idea, because a lot of people ask me this of how it works, look, as an entrepreneur, you're going to need to get the most money at the best terms for your business. You're going to want to get loans. You're going to want to get credit lines. You're going to want to be able to come in and be able to qualify for business credit cards. And this is really what we do at Credit Suite. We help you improve your fundability. We help you get everything you need to be able to build business credit. So with our system and our solution, you get 24/7 access to what we call our business finance suite. You could build business credit in English and or Spanish. We help you set up your entity, your EIN, your phone, your website, your business phone number, your fax number. We get your phone number listed with 411. We get you set up with a bank account, the merchant account. We help you with all that. We help you get set up with all 3 credit reporting agencies. We help you fix inaccuracies. We give you the biggest database of fleet credit sources, retail credit sources, cash credit sources, funding that you're able to get for your business. You get all of that when you're working with us. And then if you are getting started with us, We also have 6 bonuses for you if you're getting started with us by Friday. You get 30-minute call with our advisors to teach you everything you need to teach one-on-one directly to get set up the right way. 90 days of credit monitoring, which is now $750 value because we include Equifax as well. And it's only $24 a month after that. 28-page business valuation report. And now the new bonus that we also have is a $2,000 branding course offered by my buddy, Mark Insen, who's one of the biggest in the personal branding space. He literally sells it for $2,000. He gave it to our clients for free. So if you're enrolling by Friday, you're able to get all of that. And if you do want to work with us, it's one payment of $24.97. With this webinar through Friday, it's a 20% discount, or 7 payments of $497. We also have a Genesis program where it's even more affordable. You can pay as you go with Genesis. So if you want a cheaper monthly payment, we offer that as well. And again, we take about 2 years of this process, condense it down into only months. And a lot of the stuff you're going to pay for, credit monitoring, 411 listing, you get for free with us. You don't have to pay, or you get a discount on it. So you, in turn, if you look at how much you save with us, you'll see it's cheaper to work with us than doing it on your own. And you get a lot better results faster. And we even help you get funding. We help you get loans, credit lines, that kind of stuff that you need as well. And we give you an unconditional guarantee. So it shifts your risk to us. I mean, you get everything with your first payment. So even, again, if you don't think what we're giving you is worth every penny, then in 30 days, you come and solicit us for a refund and we'll give you the refund. We rarely have that happen. But again, we want to make sure that you have everything that you need to succeed. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and open this up and answer any questions you have. I only have about 5 minutes here, guys, to wrap up and answer questions. Outside of that, I'm going to give you a phone number for our team to call in. It's only because I have a podcast interview. I've got to do it too. And then I have a secret webinar at 3. Yes, I do a secret webinar. I've done it for 8 years for only our partners. So if you're interested in offering business credit financing with us, you can get in and we teach you all kinds of things. My training today is how to use setters to basically tear up appointments for your sales team. Okay, and again, you get all these bonuses. This is everything that you get when you're enrolling with us. Okay, and again, a lot easier even in a work from home situation to be able to get started. But again, this is just a repeat. So I'm going to go through this right now and get you to a phone number here where you can actually get in touch with us. So you can go to creditsuite.com/webinar to actually get started. If you have questions, there's our phone number. And let me wrap this up by trying to answer as many questions here before I actually before we get wrapped up. Okay. So Dane says, I checked I checked that. I read that earlier. Daniel says, at what stage can you get a Home Depot credit card? You can get that in the retail credit tier stage. Usually you're going to need 8 to 10 accounts reporting to get the Home Depot card. Now, again, a lot of people ask these kind of questions. Remember, as a client, you have access to all that. We tell you every single source and exactly how many accounts that you need reporting. Do you have a video on cash credit cards? I'm not sure. You could check our YouTube channel, but I don't think I've done a video on just that. That's a longer video, but I've got shorter videos on that topic there. And Michael says either NAV, any other way to get reporting and credit line on your credit report. DMB's Credit Builder can help you get something on your credit report, but not usually a credit line. They won't let you add bank credit to the credit report. So outside of DMB's Credit Builder, there's no other way to add that stuff to the credit report. I don't think they report to Experian anymore. If they don't, again, you can only use DMB's Credit Builder to get it reported with DMB. Monica says, can you have a virtual address but have a different shipping address? You absolutely can. That's what we do as well. Michael says, what if you skip and get a couple Secure Fleet credit cards? You can. You're going to have to provide a credit check. You're going to have to provide a guarantee. And Michael brings up a great point. If you want to get retail credit sooner in the process, you can. You're just going to have to provide a guarantee, and you're going to have to provide a credit check for that to work. What's the link to the podcast? If you go to creditsuite.com, the top right of our page, you'll be able to access our podcast. You can also get all of our all of our past podcast episodes at creditsuite.com/podcast. Guys, we have 470 episodes we've recorded on our podcast. It's got over 350,000 downloads. It's extremely popular, so you can listen on the go. And Dave says the price is awesome for the value, especially if you're getting us funding. Look, I can't guarantee you'll qualify for loans or credit lines or not. I can't. But I'll guarantee you that we're going to give you the fastest and easiest way to build business credit and to be able to get 100,000 plus in revolving credit, as well as get your fundability aligned and give you more access to funding than you've ever had before. Let me get to the webinar. I know I've neglected some of you guys' questions, so let me make sure I get those addressed. Can you recommend a bank for business accounts? I use mine through Regions. but I think you can use any of them. Chase does a really good job right now as well. I have 2 LLCs, but I should register any DBA for the LLC rather than form another LLC. That makes sense. Unless you need a separate entity, don't form another LLC. Does your virtual address to file your taxes? Yes, we use the virtual address for everything, but so yes, we use the virtual address for everything, but it's a good question for your accountant. How would I figure out what NAICS code is less risky than another? You really can't. We've got some training on our YouTube channel about high-risk industries, okay? But outside of that, you'd have to look online. Some of the stuff you'll be able to find is high risk. This is my dog. You guys ever want to see this one that's making so much noise? This is her. This is my Pomsky bear. So Bear is going to hang out and finish my podcast with me because she wanted to be held. Okay. What if you skip and get, okay, to answer that, such great info. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Okay. And I ordered using Uline under Net 30 accounts and they sent the products. Does that mean I have business credit with them? Yes. If they ship the items, then that means you got credit with them. It works. Started in May. Now have 10 trade lines and continuing to build. Thanks, James, for working with us. Congratulations on getting started. James is an example. He started in May and already has 10 trade lines. How fast you get trade lines depends on how much you're applying for. I need credit to update computer hardware, credit card. You can absolutely do this, use this to get exactly what you're looking for. You have to follow a credit suite system for everything to fall in place. Within 6 months, you can begin to get established for lines of credit. And that's from James, and I thank you for that, James. Adam says, concerning business address always being the same, what to do when they abbreviate suite? That's okay, but it needs to be the same outside of that. Mason says, Wells Fargo refused any kind of credit company. Wells Fargo are jerks. They denied me when I opened my credit company back in the day when they were whatever they were before that. I don't even use them. I've never used them since. How can I sign up for monthly? I'm in business. Just give us a call and we'll talk to you about our monthly sign-up program. Do we have a copy of this presentation too? Yes, if you stay to the end of the webinar, we will automatically send you a copy. And if you give us a call, we'll do a free consultation with you and get you free copies of your business credit reports. I told you I'd teach you how to do that for free. You just have to give us a call and on a consultation. We'll do that for us. Is it easier to start or fix a current business? It depends on how long the business has been open. Okay, but it does work in your favor to have a business that's been open longer. So I try to fix the current one and work on a new one. And depending on damage, give us a call. We'll look at your business credit reports with you and give you that advice if your credit reports are damaged. If you change your domain, will it hurt your fundability? It won't. It just needs to be updated everywhere. I want to join the program, but the monthly is too high for me. Do you have a little monthly? We will work with you on affordable payments. Never let money stand in the way. We've got options, guys, I don't even include on the website that are very affordable. So all you have to do is just give us a call. We'll talk to you about it. I applied for DUNS before, and I did open my virtual address. Can I update? Yes, you can. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up, everybody. If you have questions, I'm not neglecting you. I'm just literally late for a podcast interview right now. Give us a call, 877-600-2487. Don't forget, if you are enrolling with us through Friday, I'm going to do something I only do on the very end of webinars for people that hung with me for an hour and a half. I'm going to give you a 20% discount. You can get started for $24.97. We'll make the payments ridiculously affordable. You just have to give us a call if you don't like the normal payments that we have. Okay, and don't forget, we got a lot of cool bonuses, including a free consultation with our team, including 90 days of credit monitoring, which you paid $750 for, and a really cool course from my friend Mark Ensign on how you set up your personal branding. $2,000 course amongst other bonuses. You get all of that if you're enrolling by Friday. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I'm already a few minutes late to this podcast. If you have questions, give us a ring, 877-600-2487. That's 877-600-2487. Thanks for hanging out with us. By us, I mean my little Pomsky here, Bear, and my Great Dane, Amelia. She was hanging out this whole time as well. We appreciate you tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow when we dive into more training on how to get money for your business. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. I hope you all have a great day. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.